you would like to say hello on the chat, introduce yourself, let me know that the audio, video are looking good. That would be awesome. While you guys do that, I am going to get myself ready, get the notes and everything ready. Okay. So let's get started, shall we? All right, let's go. Anybody coming in, please. Oh, hello. Hi there, WSCA. Okay, so hello, nice to see you here. Again, if you have any question during the webinar or if you have any difficulty, let me know. Hello, Louisa, good to have you here again. Yeah, so so apparently you can hear me and see me. If there's any funny things going on with the audio and video, definitely let me know. And if you have any questions, definitely type it into the chat and I can see it and I'll address it either during, after the webinar. Hello, Matthew, how are you? From beautiful Berkeley Springs, lovely. All right, so without further ado, I am going to get us started. First of all, introduce myself. I am Ling at businesssoulwork.com, and this is the second webinar, second installment of the Content Marketing in Plain English webinar series. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to get the replay link, which I will send out after this webinar. Fingers crossed that will record properly, and you can catch up on webinar number 1 if you haven't seen it already, because that really gives you the context. So without further ado, I'm going to disappear from the screen and pull up the screen share so that you can see the slides. All right, there you go. So now you should see my screen. If you don't, let me know in the chat if there's any issues, but I'm hoping everything looks good. So, oh wait, let me find my notes. Yep, now officially welcome to the second installment of the Content Marketing in Plain English free webinar series. If you haven't already, like I said, I would urge you to go back and watch the first webinar during which we review the 4-stage inbound marketing process and use it as a framework for designing a content experience to get the biggest bang for your content marketing bucks. The link to the replay is in a few of the reminder emails that you received, and I will also send it out after this webinar, so you can get both replays. Now that you understand the inbound marketing methodology and advanced content marketing foundation, you have to actually create the content. Oh, and this actual writing bit is what tripped many people up. When I speak with potential clients on the phone, many of them struggle with finding their voice and developing their style of writing, so their personality comes through loud and clear in a way that not only help them stand out, but also make a connection with their ideal clients. Mind you, most of my clients are newbies. They've been around the block a few times, taken their share of training and programs, and might even have hired some copywriter or two to write their content. After working with many of these clients, I've developed a deep dive process to help them amplify their voice and define their style. And more often than not, write the damn thing for them in a way that I'll not only give them the fish dinner, but also show them how to fish. So in today's webinar, I'm going to show you the 6 elements I typically cover in this process and how to map them to your audience by leveraging 4 content marketing essentials so your audience will resonate with your content. Now, I say typically because every person is different and I don't squeeze my clients through my agenda. Defining your style is as much about creating an experience for your audience as doing so for yourself, so you can grow in the process. I call this content experience design. You'll see glimpses of it throughout this webinar, and I plan to do an installment to do a deep dive on this topic. So before we dive in, I want to quickly introduce myself in case it's the first time we meet. That's me. Intuitive brainiac, creativity mentor, and copywriting alchemist. I'm the author of Copywriting Alchemy, Secrets to Turning a Powerful Personal Brand into Content That Sells, right now available on Amazon Kindle. Through my unique blend of marketing coaching, content experience design, and copywriting process, I help the mavericpreneurs uncover, articulate, and transform their why into content that connects, resonates, and converts by way of an intuitive yet rigorous iterative process born out of my Harvard Design School training and 15 years experience in the online marketing industry. I'm inbound marketing, content marketing, and email marketing certified. Through my writing engagement with various SaaS and marketing companies with the goals of driving organic traffic, building readership, and increasing conversion, I'm well versed in topics including online marketing, content marketing, e-commerce conversion, user experience design, social media marketing, and more. So what do I do with all these stuff that is in my brain? I love working with coaches, consultants, service providers, and solopreneurs and small businesses because in a way, I love working with businesses and people who really have a personality. And I help them apply these best practices to the specific business models and circumstances that in a way that suits them. I fell in love with content marketing and copywriting because it allows my most important value, creativity, originality, and individuality, to be expressed in an intellectually rigorous way. When I work with clients, it's not just about them paying me a few bucks to cough up some words. It's a co-creation process with my clarity coaching secret sauce baked into the process. It's immensely gratifying to see that confidence and motivation when my clients can finally find the words to express their values, convictions, and expertise in a way that feel great to them. When I'm not typing at 80 miles per hour, I am a vid cyclist with OCD, which is obsessive climbing disorder. I'm a runner and a chocoholic. So that's me. I guess you don't have questions about that. So get a sip of tea and we move on to the 6 elements to defining your writing style. Now that we got the formality over with, we're going to dig into this and the 6 elements that you need to amplify your voice and define your writing style so your content rings true to you. And that's the most important thing. Because if you don't have 120% conviction in your communication, how can you expect others to be convinced? That's the key to being confident in everything that you say and write. We dig in. Number 1 is your message and your voice. The first step in creating great content is to nail your message and define your writing voice. Finding your message is not like you can push a button and then the message got sped up from some machine. I wish it's that easy. Unlike many are led to believe, I want to consider our message as something that constantly evolves as our work and ourselves evolve. In some ways, it will be more specific. In some ways, it will become more specific, and in other circumstances, it would zoom out to embrace the larger sort of universal truth or human condition. To start, I want you to open up to the notion that it's not a once and done kind of thing. This may be counter to what our fears, resistance to uncertainty, and our ego, to our resistance to uncertainty and what our ego would want. Right? We want to know where we're going. We want that blueprint, right? However, let's play with this idea for a moment. The idea that your message is constantly evolving means you don't have to beat yourself up if you don't feel like you've nailed it right away. Maybe there's no nailing it, only the ability to articulate what's true for you at the moment so you can put it out there, validate it, hone in on it, and take it to the next level of evolution. That means you can still get out there even if you think there's more to what you have at the moment. Only by putting it out there could you get the real-time reaction to refine and clarify. My experience is that ideas seldom evolve if they're just left swirling in your head. Can you relate? You just go down a tangled path of confusion. There's a lot of power to seeing them on paper, so to speak, and connecting the dots. That also means you have to do the work consistently, so the articulation and communication of this message is mapping to how you, your value, and your conviction are evolving. It takes work and a continual refinement as you put something out there, gain the distance to see it from a different perspective, and hone it in even more to reflect a constant development of your body of work. In a way, we can consider your message as a snapshot of the continual development and creation of your body of work. Your message is the golden thread that ties your identity, beliefs, life experiences, skills, talents, and expertise together into a cohesive narrative. It transcends business categories and subject matters. For example, very popular, Tim Ferriss, the author of 4-Hour Workweek, 4-Hour Body, and 4-Hour Chef. His message is more than business, fitness, or cooking. It's about adopting a stoic approach to optimizing performance to 10x results. That's why he's able to publish all these seemingly unrelated books without diluting his personal brand. Your message taps into something bigger and deeper than what you do or sell in your business. It's an expression of your identity as applied to the world around you. And now we go look at your voice, because your message won't be effective if you're not articulating it and getting it through to the people that need to hear it. That's where your voice comes in. When your writing voice embodies your personality and allows you to connect and develop a relationship with your audience. When they trust you, when they resonate with you, your message will sink in. A common challenge I see many of my clients have is that they're resisting the use of cliche words and phrases that are devoid of meaning, yet they don't know how else to communicate the message. Sadly, more often than not, many people who struggle with this challenge fall back to using cliche words and phrases that don't resonate with them, and their content and copy comes out hollow. I always love solving this challenge for my clients, to find their individuality, originality through creativity. Their communications are not in alignment with what they believe in, and they don't have the utter confidence in what they say. And that is the problem for copy or content that is not convincing. If you can't have 120% conviction in your words, how can you expect others to be convinced? So to break out of the cage of cliche words and overused phrases, I often encourage my clients to develop their own set of vocabularies. Now, this is not about inventing new complicated words. Instead, I find it super powerful when my clients combine ordinary words in extraordinary ways to elicit something deep inside their audience. One of the most powerful things I do with my clients is to really dig into the words that they use when they talk about their work, to discover the gems, give the communication context, and challenge the how it is supposed to be said. Choosing the words that resonate is a powerful process to unearth the deeper layers in your body of work. When you dig into the nuances, you also refine your approach and develop some specific points of view that will help you create an expert positioning. Your use of words and how you phrase your content have the potential to help your audience see their situation or challenges from a different perspective, opening up possibilities that they are not even aware of before. In a way, you are developing a language you share with your audience, sort of like an insider handshake. Of course, to make this strategy effective, you need to have a very good understanding of your audience. You also need to put some work into thinking through your buyer personas and customer journey, so you can craft a series of initiation content that take people deeper into your world to infuse meaning and impact into your unique set of vocabulary. Words aren't just words. They are a reflection of your thought process and worldview. And they create a feedback loop that in turn affects how you perceive your world, how you relate to it, and how your contribution is being relevant. In a way, when you write your content, you're relating to the world around you. Words do matter because they affect how you relate to your community and how you communicate your relevance. However, the mechanical use of words is meaningless if there's no humanity behind it. The last thing you want is to sound like a marketing robot. You found your writing voice when you as a human being comes through. It's the glue that builds trust and relationships, so your audience will choose to consume your content and eventually decide to work with you. Instead of putting forth every single aspect of your personality, you can choose 2 to 3 that's most relevant to your audience, your message, and your expertise, so you can focus on dialing them up a couple of notches to cut through the clutter while remaining authentic to yourself. The most important thing about finding your writing voice is to be human. People buy from people, not a faceless company. People trust people, not a website with fancy sliders. Especially for coaching, consulting, professional services, clients want to work with those they trust, and they're willing to pay a premium for that. It's as much about experience as the final product. Your content needs to present you as a human being. I mean, it sounds kind of funny the first time I said it and I wrote it. Then I look at it again, I'm like, that's so true. Metrics and stats can be generalizing and dehumanizing if we're just focusing on the numbers. Unfortunately, so many people hide behind the facade of a logo or a company instead of showing their true colors to connect with their audience. Being humans is about making the connection and creating the resonance, a winning combo that builds trust and credibility to make conversion simply the natural next step. Being human is about opening up, having the courage to share your story, and being vulnerable. Purposeful storytelling and responsible vulnerability is not a whine fest, nor is it manipulative. You can only be truly vulnerable when you know you're strong enough to show up to whatever shows up to you. When you own your vulnerability, you're also demonstrating your confidence, the confidence your audience wants to experience to know that they can trust you. The most important thing about finding your writing voice is to be genuine. People who connect with you who connect with who you are in your content want to know that you are the same person in real life. Congruence and integrity build trust, and trust brings client. The second element is your points of view. When you get clear on your message and how you talk about it, it shouldn't come as a surprise that some unique points of view are emerging. The subject matter of your expertise certainly informs the development of your points of view, but that's not the entire story. Your points of view should first and foremost be in alignment with your values, convictions, and message. I often ask my clients to write down 3 to 5 bold statements that reflect their unique points of view. If a bold statement is solidly anchored in your values, convictions, and beliefs, your message remains clear when you strip away the subject matter. So for example, my point of view informed by copywriting, which is the subject matter, is if you don't have 120% conviction in your copy, how can you expect your audience to be convinced? If you take away copywriting, this point of view will still reflect my conviction that if we can't stand behind the reason that drives our actions, we can't expect others to be convinced by our action. It still reflects the core message of alignment and honest marketing. which is the driving force behind what I share and how I do what I do. I can apply this point of view to other subject matters such as coaching and it still be in alignment with my message. The consistency is essential in building trust and resonance with your audience. When you have developed your point of view, stick with them and use them everywhere. You can use your point of views to illustrate different applications, events, or stories. You might feel that you're saying the same thing over and over again and it's boring. But the truth is, nobody's reading or listening to every single message you put out there. And we're bombarded with so much noise these days that it takes multiple exposure for you to carve a space in your audience's headspace, and even more to let that message sink in and take root. When you stick with your point of view and apply them to what you do and how you do it, you're known for something. You stand out. Your point of view inform your unique positioning and help you stand out from a sea of sameness. Blending in doesn't make economic sense. The more you sound like everybody else, the more you'll be treated as a commodity and the less price elasticity you have. Competing on price and price alone is rarely good for business. Well, unless you're Walmart. You can't define your positioning by just doing research either. Your positioning is uniquely you, so how can you define you just by looking at data, which is a collection and generalization of other people's worldview from a week, a month, or even a year ago? I've seen people trying to define their positioning by drawing lines and plotting dots in quadrants, finding a gap and squeezing themselves into it. That seems to be a very passive and reactive way to define something that will essentially determine how you show up in your business. Don't you think? So what else can you do besides looking around and doing research to define your unique point of view? Good news, you have the answer all along. When I help my clients who have struggled for years to nail their unique positioning, it's very hard to get the really good answer out when they stay level-headed. So I get them really angry, I get them really riled up, and I get them to talk about what they sort of like what makes them angry about their industry or what people seem to be doing wrong. I mean, yeah, I can be really persistent about finding the truth that they get really annoyed and emotional. And then they're like, they hate me when we're doing that, but they always thank me later. When they do that, when they just kept talking, we find the gems that define who they are and why they are different. And when they dig into that, a unique perspective emerges. And now we have good stuff for the marketing content. Number 3 is your topic of expertise. Well, simple, right? It is what the thing that you do. Digestive health, weight loss, grief counseling, business coaching, marketing, consulting, copywriting, content marketing. Sometimes it takes the form of a conventional label, like the examples I just mentioned. Sometimes in nailing it takes a little bit of digging and creativity. For example, I had a conversation with a massage therapist who also offers nutrition counseling, Reiki, energy work, and other modalities. Obviously, she throws all these onto her website. She confused the heck out of the visitors and make her look like a jack of all trades. Instead of selling these expertise, we transcended the individual modalities and got to where her genius lies, having a dialogue with the body. So don't stay within the confine of one particular training or certification. I really encourage you to create your unique secret sauce by introducing more complexity and nuances into the conversation by pulling from all your life experiences and skills. After you've identified your topic, then you need to articulate why it's relevant to your ideal audience. It doesn't matter how good you are or how your skills are or how good your content is. Unless your audience can understand why it's relevant to them, they're not going to read or watch or listen to your stuff. We're going to talk more about mapping your topic of expertise to your audience later in this webinar, as right now I want to focus on getting your inner compass solid. Number 4 is your angle. Many people take the shortcut and simply produce content on the topic of expertise. Sure, that could work, but those 5 tips, 7 steps posts or the top 25 thing listicles are often no different than the dozens that already exist on the internet. Frankly, who needs more of that? We don't need more mediocre content that doesn't add anything to the conversation. We don't need intellectual laziness, which is not taking the time to map out your reader's customer journey and to understand how to position your content so it'll make a difference in their lives. Not stepping up to develop and share your convictions and point of view that could help your readers see their challenges from a different perspective and take meaningful actions. Not giving your topic of expertise deeper thoughts, not introducing complexity to the conversation, and not challenging the status quo. Staying within the safe zone of what I'm supposed to say just so you don't get in the line of fire. Intellectual laziness leads to content that makes a zero impact on your audience's life. Your audience gives you the time and attention to read your stuff, so respect their headspace and don't waste the time. To add value to the conversation around your topic of expertise, you need to find your unique angle, which essentially is your message filtered through your point of view and illustrated by your topic of expertise. By layering your subject matter of expertise on top of your message, then positioning it through the lens of your point of view, you build a platform that's broad enough and flexible enough for growth and expansion, while being specific enough to filter out noise and bright shiny objects so you can keep your content focused. Dude, that's a mouthful. Okay. As you build up a series of content on the topic, you start to accumulate a body of work and position yourself as the expert and thought leader. But you gotta stay focused and persistent in order to do so. Defining your angle will help you talk about what you do and how you do it in a unique, attention-grabbing way, something that keeps so many people feeling stumped. Defining your angle helps you confidently articulate what aspect of your expertise truly matters to you, which is most likely also what's important to your ideal audience. By appealing to a common value, you're building connection and resonance that make conversion the natural next step, something that a generic sales message cannot accomplish. The 5th element is your delivery. This is how you deliver the goods, the tangible thing you create to share your content. This is the medium through which you share your message, for example, written words, audio, video, as well as the format of delivery. For example, website content, book, social media content, online course, workshop, keynote speech, etc. This is the communication of your topic framed by your message, filtered by your point of view, and given context by your unique angle. It's not just about the information. The manner your content is delivered determines if you're getting through to the right people. Think about one of those songs that every artist makes a cover of. One rendition may appeal to one group, while another cover kills it with a different audience. It's the synergy of your message, point of view, and angle expressed through the practical application of your subject matter of expertise in a way that's meaningful to you and your niche. So your delivery needs to address 3 elements. Number 1, your strength. It has to tap into your strength. If you hate writing, don't do a blog post when you're dragging your ass. People can feel that energy, and you're not going to do a good job anyway. So you can do, you can do audio, you can do video, you can find a medium that allows your energy to come through and be convincing. Next is your audience. The delivery format of your product and services need to match the needs of your audience, how they prefer to consume content, and how they learn best. Your message is meaningless if your audience does not consume the content. Let's say your ideal clients are busy moms. Doing a 2-hour mega webinar with no replays just because some gurus say, oh, up the urgency or the scarcity factor at like 3 p.m., it's unlikely to get you many butts in the seats. You can probably get more of them to consume your content if you do a short 30-minute audio they can listen to while on the way to pick up the kids. Last but not least is the subject matter, which is more, think about that, right? Your subject, you need a format of delivery that suits your subject matter. Which is more effective? A 5-page instruction on how to carve a pumpkin, or a 90-second video that actually shows people how to do it? So pick a format that makes the communication of your subject matter easy to understand and easy to put into practice. This method of delivery is not about chasing the bright, shiny objects. It has to be rooted in doing good work. It has to make you apply your strength and create something meaningful. Now, here's a dose of reality check. You have to put a stake in the ground and do it, and do a lot of it. One common mistake many people make when they start blogging for their business, for example, is that they give up too soon. Content marketing is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a long game. You can't post 3 articles on your blog and then whine about how nobody's reading your stuff or commenting or sharing. The most successful content marketers have been going at it for years, putting out high-quality content that's relevant and valuable to a target audience frequently and consistently for several years before they became that overnight success. Once your momentum picks up, so will your ROI. If you commit to using content to grow your business and reap the big ROI, you need to get focused. Invest time and energy to produce quality content that's valuable and relevant to a specific audience. Show up frequently and consistently. If you don't show up for your audience, how can you expect to show up for you? Identify 1 or 2 formats and channels that cater to your ideal audience. Highlight your strength and work well for your subject matter of expertise, and then get really good at it. Don't spread yourself too thin by trying to do everything just because everyone else is doing that. Then you have to be relentless. Make it a non-negotiable part of your marketing plan to produce and promote your content. And speaking of picking one thing and stick with it, that leads to another common challenge. More often than not, when I get on the phone with folks, they'll tell me a laundry list of stuff they plan to do. Information product, video marketing, tripwire offer, podcast, guest posting, whatnot. Then they talk about why they aren't taking action, what haven't been checked off the list, and how that technology thing is keeping them stuck, etc. Often sound like apologetic, like they're in the principal's office. That apologetic tone is deadly. It makes us shrink. It takes us away from creating what we know is the right thing for ourselves, our clients, our audience, and our message. It makes us conform without enough discernment. We live in this business coaching bubble filled with a ton of things that you should do. This one thing that you have to do to be successful, right? Do this one thing and you have a 6-figure business. You should do this. You need to do that. So we are sent in a dozen different directions that drove us, sent us into a dozen different directions that and we lose sight of what drove us in the first place. Forgetting that we didn't start our businesses so that we can market some stuff. Forgetting that at the end of the day, if we don't create meaning and deliver value, we don't have anything worthwhile to sell. Then everything you have learned about marketing and selling is moot. More often than not, we're making things more complicated than they need to be. Don't throw yourself into 24 business strategies and marketing tactics, wondering where to start and getting stuck in analysis paralysis. Start by doing good work. Start with your distinct point of view and your unique contribution. Start by creating meaning and delivering value. Add value to the conversation. And doing good work doesn't mean getting stuck in perfectionism. It doesn't mean you have to make it perfect before you sell anything. Doing good work is an attitude. Put you into the work, your value and conviction and what you know. No fear, no compromise, no diluting your message because you worry about offending people or excluding clients. You gotta tell the truth. As good as you can get it with what you have at the moment, with honesty, confidence, and conviction. Good work also means shipping the damn thing. Hit publish. If you don't deliver the goods, it's not doing anybody any good. When you do good work, when you identify the meaning in that work, when you map its relevance to your niche, then the next step comes naturally. You're proud of it, you can't help but talk about it. That's marketing. When you do good work and enough of it, you know your expertise and offering inside and out, so you can talk about it in a way that articulates why it's relevant and meaningful to your audience. This is quality material for your content marketing because garbage in, garbage out. Without meaningful input, marketing is a hamster wheel. Here's what I tell anyone who wants my copywriting fairy dust. I can make this stuff sound really good. I can make anything sound really good. However, if they aren't doing good, honest work, the disconnect will eventually bite them in the ass. Do good work and you can sell with confidence, conviction, and alignment, whether it is on the phone, on a sales page, or in a webinar. Oh, that should be number 6, not number 5. Oops. Okay, number 6, your groove. Now we have all the ingredients. You need to find your groove so you can be effective and efficient when implementing your content marketing strategies. So how do you find your groove? First, we can talk about content plan or content calendar. Okay, so that's quite obvious. I'm guessing everybody have heard about content calendar. And you might also have heard that your content calendar needs to map to your marketing plan. Logically, it sounds good. Here's my little confession. I haven't been able to successfully stick to a content calendar. I tried it, and 2 weeks down the road, it got tossed out the window because it felt too rigid for the way that I get inspired and create. Yet we do want to make sure your content marketing effort is serving your business and helping you achieve your goals. So is there a happy medium? So you might have to find yours, but for me, I like to do some sort of sprints. It's kind of like this. First, inspiration for creating a product, program, or an event hits. Then the marketing idea. Then map the content plan to the marketing idea. Oftentimes, the content creation process in turn informs the marketing strategies and even the product or program itself. So that's what works for me. Instead of planning out content for the entire year or 6 months, which could make me feel really constricted, I come up with a system that works for me. It's more of a rapid prototyping or a iterative process, an agile iterative process if you want to geek out. The advantage of doing such sprints is that it's quite agile. It gives structure while allowing room for spontaneity and creativity. I can adjust tactics and directions very easily to adapt to the business goals and the direction I'm taking at the moment. So that brings up the flip side of the coin. What to do when you're in between campaigns, right? When you're doing these sprints, there will be pockets of time when you have nothing else going on. So here are a few ideas. Initiation content to tease out the concept of your unique approach. Introduce your unique set of vocabularies to frame your audience's challenge and educate your readers why they should listen to you. You can do personal stories to make a personal and emotional connection with your audience while illustrating how your life experiences are relevant to what you do for your clients now. Or you can do a deep dive into your message, values, or points of view. Let's focus on your topic of expertise, products, or services, and more emphasis on building that deep resonance with your audience that foster trust and relationship. Good here? Okay. Now, next is word count or frequency, etc. That's kind of sort of about building a habit, right? So I got asked a lot, how many words should each blog post be? How often should I publish? There's really no should, and you have to find your groove through trial and error in a way. The general rule of thumb is this: articles with word count around like 750 to 1,500 tends to do well with SEO. If it's good content and visitors stay on to read your content, you score SEO points, like good ranking, right? For good dwell time, which is the time visitors stay on your page to consume the content. While I write for clients, the sweet spot is typically around 1,000 words. It gives us the space to set up the conversation and share some in-depth information, so my client's unique perspective come through while still succinct enough to be consumed, right? Our goal is to have the content consumed so that your audience will take action, right? When you present information that people can't get anywhere else, the messaging is that you have experience in the subject matter, because there's no way to just make things up without having done it for a while. This solidifies your credibility and expert positioning. But then don't feel like you have to stay within that word count. You need to test and see what works best for you and your audience. For example, Seth Godin. He publishes a pithy 200-word post every day, and every single word is gold. And the same goes for frequency. You have to find something that works for you and your audience. Start with once a week and publish at least, you can start with once a week, or you can start with once every 2 weeks and see how it suits your workload and your style. Even though you shouldn't go too long without publishing because fresh content is good for SEO, I'm definitely against sacrificing quality for quantity. I don't have any magic tricks to make you write every week. No, I don't. At the beginning, it's just a matter of practice, of turning the act of writing into a habit. Then it gets easier. You won't run out of things to say, trust me. I know this is one of the fears people have in the beginning. I noticed that as I write one article, it'll spark a couple of new ideas for the next post. When you're willing to go deep and introduce complexity into the conversation, you uncover the nuances in your points of view and unique angles that will inspire you to write and create more. Then last but not least, to find your groove, you need to define your promotional strategy. Having a website with a blog doesn't mean your ideal audience know about it. 2.7 million blog posts are published every day. 300 hours of videos are uploaded to YouTube every minute. You get the idea. The most successful content marketers spend 20% of their time in content creation and 80% in content promotion. If you don't put in the consistent effort to get your content in front of the right people, it's not going to do anything for you. You have to find your audience. None of us are entitled to an audience. You have to work to earn the trust and respect. You probably don't have a load of time to spend on promoting your content everywhere, nor do you have a team of dedicated minions to do that, right? That's why it's critical that you not only know where your audience hangs out, but also be able to write headlines and descriptions that speak to them and make them want to read or listen to watch your stuff. And that is to click through. Identify a few places you can focus your promotional efforts and resources, then test and track your results so you can make adjustments to your tactics. Design a process you will follow every single time when you publish a piece of content, so you can systematically promote your work on a regular basis and show up consistently in front of your audience. It's important that you make this process your own. Create a system that works for you and identify strategies that allow you to connect with your ideal audience most effectively. There are no one-size-fits-all tactics, and you need to be fine-tuning as you go. Now, we are moving on to the energetics of content experience design. Making connection with your audience is not a mechanical process. The codified practice risks taking the art of communication, risk taking the art out of communication, be it in written or spoken words, and replacing the joy of creativity with mechanical process and data analysis that minimize individual expression. No wonder so many of my peeps who value creativity, individuality, and originality feel like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. They know they need to be creating content to increase their visibility, boost their expert status, and increase trust with their ideal audience. And there are strategies and best practices to make sure we don't reinvent the wheel. However, the more they dig into the how-to, the less excited they become. The tools and documentation they're supposed to have with them, they get daunting. And the load of data analysis they're supposed to get through simply took the fun and joy out of what could be a creative process. So what to do? Content marketing is valuable when done well. How do you make the process expressive and exciting instead of boring and confining? It starts from your willingness to open up and make the energetic connection. Before we map the 6 elements we just discussed to the 4 content marketing essentials that are used in all best practices to make your message and expertise relevant to your audience. Let's talk about the energetics of content experience design. As you can pretty much guess, I kind of make this term up, content experience design, and the energetics of it. That's my vocabulary of describing what I do. And it's an illustration of how I put pretty regular words together to create something that reflects my approach in a new and different way. So, okay, back to this energetics thing. Now, I veer towards the woo-woo side for a reason, and it is on purpose. I want you to take your head out of data, metrics, and formulas. Instead, think about how you build connection through your work with your clients. As a solo practitioner or micro business owner or service provider, you'd be smart to leverage your solo-ness to your advantage. Instead of fighting the big guys on the turf where they have a team of analysts poring over metrics and data and a content factory pumping out stuff every single day. Your asset is you, with a unique combination of personality, convictions, and point of view applied through the lens of knowledge in your area of expertise to create a resonance more than the thing that you deliver, and a transformation in your clients at a deeper level. Your intuition and empathy is your secret weapon. It gives you the humanity to tap into emotions and generate insights that no research and data can provide. In fact, I'll argue that the best marketing copywriting starts with empathy. The best marketing speaks not only to the customer's wants, but also their deep emotional needs, beliefs, and identities. The best copy relates to the readers and make you their friend and advocate, not Joe salesman trying to make a quick buck from them. It's about getting into the nooks and crannies of your ideal clients' lives. It's about creating copy that sends tingles down your readers' spines and make them scream, "How do you know that?" Walk a day or even a year in their shoes. Feel what they're feeling. Think what they're thinking. And when you're naturally empathic and can intuitively tap into the feelings and emotions, you have the ability to dig into those deep recesses, stuff they won't even tell you, they won't even know, like things they won't tell you in surveys and researches, because they may not even know that. As someone who is intuitive and empathic, you have the ability to intuit what speaks to their deep-seated inkling and identity, what they believe to be true, what's really bugging them, and what they need to know in order to really create a transformation, and hopefully with you. These are the stuff that they won't tell you because they don't even know, or they don't have the ability to articulate it. You being the one who can help them see it, identify it, name it, and articulate it will most likely gain the trust and be seen as the expert who will also give them the solution, which means they want to work with you. So trust yourself. You know how to talk to your people better than anybody else. This energetic connection is a two-way street. Not only do you need to tap into them energetically, you also need to give out the right energy. When you show up with the right energy, everything changes. This is the driving force behind honest marketing and doing good work. When your communications is in alignment with your values and convictions, and when it's expressed with creating meaning and delivering value as the goal, you'll have the utmost confidence in your copy and content. Your voice, your values, convictions, personality show up in everything you write and say. You have an internal guiding system on what to say and how to say it. And when you show up fully in your content, your audience will show up for you. I have so many clients who told me when they landed on my website, they immediately know I'll make a difference for them and for their business before they read anything. And for myself personally, I rarely read sales page line by line anymore. When I land on a page, I just tap into the energy of it and I'll know if that product or program or service is right for me. So with this idea of content creation energetics in mind, let's get back to mapping the 6 elements that we just talked about to your audience. That's the nuts and bolts and the best practice part of this webinar. So before we get into that, I want to check in to see if everything is making sense so far, and if you have any questions and what you think of where we are at so far. So type it into the check-in, type into the chat what you have learned so far, what you find most valuable so far, and while I take a break and take a sip of tea. All right, so I'm expecting that there's a delay in the broadcast and then the comments coming in. So while we wait for that, I am going to move forward. I respect everybody's time and I want to make sure that we go through everything. Yes, it's a lot, but and I got a smile. Good. So I'm suppose that's a good thing. I like your emphasis on trust you. Thank you. Okay. I know it's a lot, and that's why I'm recording this thing, because you may want to break it up and go back to some parts of it. Okay, so to bring the magic back into content creation, I'll show you how to layer your message and personality, as well as the gift of intuition and empathy over some essential components of content marketing best practices to make writing for your business meaningful again. Okay, Louisa says, yes, makes sense. I love the content. I would need to listen to this again. Thank you. So let's cross our finger that this thing is recording properly. Okay, first is the customer journey. The less fancy way to say this is, what are the steps or stages people go through before they become your clients? Don't make it about squeezing your potential clients through a funnel with 37 permutations that make everybody's head spin, just so you can look smart. A real-life customer journey is not linear or clinical. There's a lot of emotions involved and it's not always rational. As the word journey implies, it has the potential to be a story of transformation. It's way more than a step-by-step instructional manual. When you map out your customer journey, you can create content specific for each stage. Aim your content above and beyond the same old, provide value and relevant information to address and instead address these questions. What's your ideal client's story? What's the hero's journey? What are they thinking, feeling, and doing at each stage? What do they need to know about you, about the subject matter, and themselves in order to proceed to the next level, the next stage, and get closer to engaging with your services? Who do you want to be for them at each stage, at each step of the way? Which aspect of your personality and convictions would they most resonate with at each stage? Next is the buyer persona. If you haven't taken any marketing program or training, you probably have a few dry as cardboard ideal client profile collecting dust somewhere on your hard drive. Just filling out a series of questions and creating an avatar can only take you so far. When you pull out one of those profiles and read it, does it feel like a real person to you? Or does it sound like a poorly written TV character that's like so two-dimensional that you don't really believe that she exists in real life? Work needs to be done to connect the dots and make this persona meaningful to you and to your business. Your intuition can work magic here and help you construct a three-dimensional persona that you can relate to when you create your content. Your buyer persona shouldn't be frozen in time either. The way she reacts to your communication changes as she goes through the customer journey, and hopefully your content is already creating transformation in her life along the way. And that's where, I don't want to geek out on this, but that is where content mapping comes in. After you have identified this persona, go back to your customer journey and imagine how she would react and what she would need to know in order to deepen her connection with you, to take the next step, to go to the next stage. This is an organic process. This persona evolves as she goes through the customer journey, which could also be very well her own hero's journey. Each piece of the content that addresses a particular stage should speak to the psychology of that persona at that point in time and take her to the next step. When I write copy for my clients, I like to pretend that I'm the potential client at each stage, and we role play a dialogue to uncover the kind of content we need for a piece of copy to be effective. Most training teaches us to give that persona a name, right? Aggressive Abe, boring Boris, chatty Kathy. Recently, I read an article on LinkedIn, yet unfortunately, I wasn't able to locate it again for this webinar, and it questioned that practice. The gist is, when we name a persona, it introduces cultural and social preconception, and this in and of itself is a very interesting topic to unpack. So, in my humble opinion, the best content appeals to a larger context. Certain universal inkling, beliefs and identities that transcend simply finding the pain and twisting the knife. When you see this persona in your mind's eye, try to connect with her at a level that transcends the here and now, the limitation of an individual experience, to encompass that something bigger. You could call it the truth or the larger human condition. Whatever that is, your intuition would know better than any data and metrics to guide you to tap into this. You would take your audience from a narrow problem-solving mindset to an aspirational mindset. So you're speaking to both your audience needs to move away from a problem and to move towards a desired outcome or identity. Okay, yay, keyword research. No, okay, stay with me. It's not that dry. When we say keyword, we often think about SEO, but keyword is not the only thing that drives SEO. Instead of seeing keywords as a means to ranking high on Google, I really urge you to use them as a tool to peek into your ideal audience's world so you can show up in front of them, grab their attention, and take them on that journey you have crafted for them. Keywords are the window to how your ideal readers describe the world. Reflect it back to them and you build resonance. Keyword can help you understand your ideal audience and inform how you can catch them and draw them in. Your content is worth 0 if nobody is reading it. A good understanding of keyword adds layers to your customer journey. By understanding how your people talk about what they want, what they want and what they need to get solved at each stage of the journey, you can add more depth to the persona and weave a story around the experience to create a deeper connection. Essentially, the keyword is how your audience see and describe the world. Pay attention to nuances. Why do they use a particular word? What does it mean to phrase their problem in a certain way? Does it emphasize some specific beliefs or preferences? If you can make keyword research more than a mechanical execution, you may be surprised by the insights you can gain about your audience. Number 4, yay, content calendar or not? Let's revisit this. Like I mentioned, I've been trying to find that happy medium between a rigid content plan and throwing spaghetti on the wall. We do want to make sure your content marketing effort is serving your business and helping you achieve your goals. You can use your buyer persona and customer journey to inform your planning. When you design a marketing campaign or plan out a series of marketing activities, you can map out a content creation plan to support your goal. Who's your primary audience for that campaign? And where are they in the customer journey? For example, for a list building campaign, you're probably speaking to people at the early stage of their journey. On the contrary, if you're selling an advanced training, you're likely to be targeting someone further down the path. Then think about your persona and how she would act, think, and feel at that stage. What would make her click through to read your content? That could mean mapping that to keyword, right? What does she need to know in order to take action? That could mean reflecting the insights you get when you answer the question that would mean reflecting the insights that you get when you think about, what matters to her and fleshing that out. Your content will be that much more effective if you map it to the goal of each marketing campaign, the stage of the customer journey if it's, that it is addressing, and the psychology of the readers at that particular stage of transformation. Okay, yeah, we just talked about a lot of good stuff today. So want to check in and see if anybody on the line have any question? Type that into the chat and let me know. While I take a sip of tea. Questions, comments, thoughts, insights? Type it into the chat box and share. Of course, I would love your feedback on what you think about this, this webinar. What do you think about this content today? So while we wait for the delay and wait for everybody to chime in, I am going to share a few things. So like I said, in everything that I wrote about this webinar series, this is pure content, not a pitch fest. But I promise that I did say that I would love to take a few minutes to go over a couple of next steps if you want to see how we can work together. So number 1 is to book a 30-minute content strategy brainstorm session at a special rate of $47 to help you get clear on what to focus on right now, the kind of content to produce, and or how to write with more oomph in a way that connects with your audience. So I won't sell you anything during this call. You can, of course, ask me about it after the 30-minute is up. And but the goal is to have you walk away with 30 minutes worth of pure strategies and good ideas. So use the link on the screen to process your payment, and I'll be in touch via the email address you used in the PayPal payment within 24 hours. So it's business business-soulwork.com/content session special with a dash between each word. And if you're done with chasing your tail on the copywriting hamster wheel, I'm here to write the damn thing for you. So you go to the URL on the screen, business-soulwork.com/copywriting, to read more about my unique copywriting service with clarity coaching baked right into the co-creation process. Or simply shoot me an email to the address on the screen, ling@business-soulwork.com, and we'll set up a time to chat to see what makes the most sense for you. We'll design something that meets your needs. I don't squeeze my clients through my agenda, and I'm very flexible in terms of structuring whatever we do to be the most beneficial for you. So that is the end of the slides. Okay, so stop screen sharing, and that's my happy face again. Thank you for being here today. Want to check in one more time, type into the chat box. Hey, Louisa, I love that you say when writing our content, tell the truth. That's how I write my content, with honesty, confidence, and conviction. Someone once told me if I write this way, that I would insult some people. Yeah, I mean, you may offend some people, but that's how it is. When you put a stake in the ground, when you have a point of view, you would actually attract some people. People will be like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to say. And there'll be people who are like, that's not me. And that's how actually you get your audience to self-select and have a group of raving fans. Is really speak what is true for you, and that will resonate with people who actually can actually benefit from your unique perspective and point of view. Wonderful. As usual, great stuff, smiling and happy inside. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking your time. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here today. I will send out the replay link. Hopefully everything will be good, and I look forward to connecting with you. If you want to hit me up, reply to any of the emails. And upcoming webinar number 3, we get into the nuts and bolts of blogging for business. We talk about the 7 common blogging mistakes, which is actually not number 1. It's not your usual suspect. And we also have, I'm also going to share 7 smart blogging strategy for business. So I hope to see you in a couple of weeks. And for now, take care, and I will see you around. Bye.